It's a nice sunny day in California, which got me thinking about long-lost civilizations, especially those from mythology, which are no longer discussed in modern classrooms and reduced to fiction in Disney movies. This wasn't always the case, however, as before World War II, it was still acceptable to speculate about what ancient civilizations may have existed and how they came about. One forgotten example is Augustus Le Plongeon. He was a photographer, archaeologist, and author who studied the pre-Columbian ruins of America, particularly those of the Maya civilization on the northern Yucatan Peninsula. He was also a Freemason, and while he was shunned by mainstream academia, the founder of the Theosophical Society, Madame Helena Blavatsky, drew upon his research for her own theories. His work also influenced Manly P. Hall, the famous occultist, who was a proponent of Le Plongion's archaeology and even purchased his collection of photos taken on site in the Yucatan. Even U.S. Congressman Ignatius Donnelly, author of Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, also championed the work of Augustus Le Plongeon and cited his research. Le Plongeon believed that the Maya sites in the Yucatan were the remnants of one of the world's oldest cultures, with civilization then traveling east, first to Atlantis and later to ancient Egypt. He also discovered that the symbols of Freemasonry could be traced to the ancient Maya, and that this ancient knowledge had come to ancient Egypt from the ancient Maya by way of Atlantis. He found mathematical similarities in the architecture at ancient sites, such as the Magician's Pyramid at Uxmal, that he believed had proportions that related to mystic numbers that he stated were used by ancient Masonic master builders. He also noted that some of the proportions were found in tombs in Chaldea, which was absorbed into Babylon, and Etruria, the Etruscans, which were absorbed into Rome, and in ancient Greek structures, and as part of the Great Pyramid in Egypt, and were due, he said, to a Maya influence. The main problem mainstream academia had with his theories was that the chronology of Maya and Egypt established by archaeologists did not fit, as the Maya were demonstrated to have flourished too recently to have been responsible for a cultural diffusion of civilization. That said, few archaeologists were willing to entertain the idea of a pre-Mayan civilization, which may have originated in what is now a submerged landmass, as sea levels were 300 to 400 feet lower during the antediluvian times, or the late Pleistocene. If one were to imagine what the oceans would look like, with hundreds of feet of water removed, trapped as ice and glaciers elsewhere, such as covering Europe during the Ice Age, then islands such as the Azores in the Atlantic and Hawaii in the Pacific would be mountaintops of much larger areas of dry land above the ancient sea level. This controversial translation of an ancient Mayan manuscript is part of the famous collection of Le Plongeon, the Mexican codex known as the Toronto manuscript, which can be seen in the British Museum. Quote, "In the year of 6 Khan, on the 11 Mulak, in the month Zak, there occurred terrific earthquakes, which continued without interruption until the 13th Chuan. The country of the hills of mud, the land of Mu, was sacrificed. Being twice upheaved, it disappeared during the night, being continually shaken by the fires of the under earth. Being confined, these caused the land to sink and rise several times in various places. At last, the surface gave way, and then 10 countries were torn asunder and scattered. They sank with their 64 million of inhabitants 8,000 years before the writing of this book." While his translations and interpretations have been challenged, Le Plongion's comparison of the mythology and spiritual belief systems of ancient Mesoamerican civilizations and those of others, from the ancient Egyptians to the early Christians, illustrates just how similar many sacred mysteries are, and just how closely bonded people and communities are, no matter how distant they are in time. Regardless, most anthropologists accepted that the Maya civilization postdated ancient Egypt, and Atlantean stood by his theories, and for this reason, few people today have ever heard of his name. Unfortunately, it is not practical to conduct archaeology on the ocean's floor, and so very few in the mainstream consider the possibility of mythology remembered as Atlantis or Mu. Another factor that keeps such ideas suppressed in modern times is one of political correctness. James Churchward was another proponent of ancient submerged continents, such as Mu, which he placed in the Pacific, and in his book, The Lost Continent of Mu, he wrote that, quote, "The dominant race in the land of Mu was a white race, exceedingly handsome people, with clear white or olive skin. Besides this white race, there were other races. They, however, did not dominate." According to Churchward, the white race of Mu colonized all the earth, founded all civilizations, and created all ancient monuments. To support this, he quoted the Ramayana and followed Atlantean in asserting that the Maya who appeared in that epic are the Mexican Maya, and therefore that there's an ancient Aryan origin for both. In modern anthropology, diffusionist concepts are not permitted, unless a theory is egalitarian, meaning everything and everyone is perfectly equal and spontaneously started out at the same time in an equal way. It is not accepted, with the exception being that the hypothesis be in favor of an Afrocentric origin. Then it is not only accepted, but celebrated and financially rewarded with international grants and awards, regardless of genetic or archaeological evidence to the contrary. My name is Robert Sepehr. I'm an anthropologist. You can find my published books on Amazon. They make a very great gift. Thank you to all of those who support me on Patreon. I very much appreciate you. There should be a link below for those interested. Kindly share this video if you found it informative. Please hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell for future updates. I very much look forward to reading your thoughts in the comment section. Have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you again soon.